Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at Delicious, which Delicious is published by Pencil First Game and is a 1 to 100. There's no real player limit to this game that doesn't take more than 20 minutes to play, regardless of player counts. This is going to be a flip and write game. You're going to try to create the best vegetable garden and have the best fruit selection. Let's go ahead down to the table here. I'll give you a general idea how the game plays, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so this is what you get in a game of Delicious. In a game of Delicious, you're going to get your regular rule book here. You're going to get this pesky guest returns. This is going to be your solo mode, and you're going to have this little pesky guest. I'm not going to really go over the solo mode here, but it does exist and it is good. So if you like playing games solo or would like to practice at this game before your big game night, the solo mode is a really good implementation of the game. So here we have our little bag, and inside this bag we have our tokens that we're going to be used throughout the game. And there's a good bit of tokens in there. We also have our honey pot, and we have our deck, and we have a very generous pad of papers here. I like laminating them, so I'm going to laminate probably about 10 of them because there's really no player count in this game. It's just because you'll see this is like shared information, so you can have any number of people play it. Okay, so to start out the game, basically what you're going to do is you'll have this off to the side here. You're going to have the right side here is going to be your active cards, and the left side over here is going to be your compost, which I'll show you in a second. You'll shuffle up this deck. Then you'll remove 6 cards from the game after you finish shuffling. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 cards will be removed from the game. Then you're going to have 2 piles of 12. The game's going to be played over 12 rounds. Once you run out of these cards, you know that it's the end of the game. You're going to need one more token that I actually put in this bag, so I have to get them out here. This one shows you that this is going to be the upper section of your board, and this one shows that it's going to be the lower section. So these 3 or these 3. All right, so what you're going to do on every round here is you're going to flip these cards over. Oops, let's get a different one on here. We have mushroom and broccoli, just to have some difference here. Oh, I don't even want that one. Let's use cabbage as an example. I'm going to show you why I'm doing this in a second. Or lettuce, I'm sorry. So then we're going to draw a token and place it on each of these. Now, if it's a fruit side up, you're going to let the fruit side up. If it's a tool side, you're going to put these are double-sided, you'll put the tool side down. All right, and what you're going to do is you're trying to fill out this board. Move these up a little bit so you can see everything. You're going to try to fill out this board and get as many points as possible. The way this board's work is everything has to be filled from the bottom up. So I have to finish this row before I can finish these rows for these 6 sections. Here, I can place anywhere that's valid. We'll just show you what are the valid fruits on here. And here is going to be the different vegetables that you can have in different fruits. You're supposed to draw these vegetables or write a letter. So if you don't feel like drawing each of these shapes, you can just write the letter in the box. Same with the fruits. So what we're going to do is you have to do a plant choice on your turn. Now there's 12 different plant choices that you can have, and there's 12 different rounds. Once you fill up all these little circles on here, you can't choose that anymore. This one here means I can pick one of these 2, and when I pick one of these 2, they have to be played where they're at. So this one has to be played in the top row. This one has to be played in the bottom row if I pick it. If I pick this, I can pick one of these 2, but I can play it in the opposite. I have to play it in the opposite place. So this mushroom would have to go on the top rows. If I pick this one, I get to pick both of them, and they have to be played where they're at. So this one has to be played on the top row, and this one has to be played on the bottom row. If I pick this one, I get both, but I can pick if I want to play one on the top, one on the bottom, or both on the bottom, both on the top. So that one's the most variety they can have on it, and it's the least amount of times you can choose it. You can only choose it twice. So a couple things you can do on your turn here, and is let's say I pick, just to make it easy, I'm going to pick this top one here. And that's it. So I would actually fill this in. And I'd say I choose one, and I'm going to choose this lettuce. So the first thing is I have two different things that I can work out. The first thing here, and I'm not going to be brave enough to draw, so I am going to say L, and I can pick any of these top row stuff to put it in, and I have to fill from the bottom up. These have to be completely filled. Here I'm looking for every single one of these to be different. So if I'm going to put a lettuce here, then I need it to, I can't put another lettuce in this area. Here I'm looking for each of these rows to be identical. So it would be 2 lettuces, or here would be 2 carrots. Here I need to have all 3 of these identical. And I can't place anything otherwise. Here it's going to be the same as this, only it's 3 high. Here it's going to be, all of these have to be equal, and there's 5. And here all 3 of these can't be equal, so they all have to be different. So basically they're mirrors of each other, just slightly different amounts. We'll go over fruits here in a second, but so I've placed the lettuce, and let's say I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going ahead and place the lettuce here. All right. Now I have a fruit token, so I need to put the fruit token down. So I have a couple options for both lettuces and fruits other than these top rows and here, but we're just going to pretend that I need to set that here. So first thing I'm going to do is look at this symbol. It's a star. So I can set it in any one of these dark places. And I'll say I'm going to set the watermelon here. What we're looking to do in this section is to complete rows and columns. One of the things I'm going to go over in a second here, once I go to the different options, is scoring, because scoring is going to really matter on how you're going to do this guy here. You're really looking for rows and columns to be the same or all different. But I'll go over that again in a second here when I do scoring. So this section here, I could have used my watermelon or my vegetable. If I place my watermelon here, so this one, then I can pick any other fruit and place it on the board. If I placed it here, so if I place my watermelon here, this says that every single time, every watermelon that I have on here is going to give me 1 point at the end of the game. If I placed my vegetable here, I can select any other vegetable and place it in the same place that I was supposed to, top or bottom row. And I could have placed my vegetable here, and at the end of the game, every single one of these that has that vegetables is worth 2 points. So it would be 2, 4. If I had them all of them, it would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 points at the end of the game. That's how these guys work. All right, so that's how you're going to do your placement. And again, you're going to make sure you have to fill the bottom here first, and then move up. Fill the bottom here, move, and go up. So I did one turn. We're going to do one more turn here. These will go into the compost pile now. And 2 new ones will flip. So I have a carrot, and we're going to make sure we have a tool this time down here again. All right, because we're going to pick the tool now. So I would have a tool, and I'd have a vegetable, or a fruit here on the side, sorry. So now let's say I'm going to choose one again. This time I'm going to choose this one. So this one here, I have peppers, and I have a tool. So what's going to happen with a tool? Well, let's do for the peppers first. I have to do the bottom row, so I'll just put my peppers here, which is, I can just write a P instead of trying to be, amazing with it. All right, the tool allows you to add any fruit you want to, or vegetable, to a garden. So if you're going to pick a fruit, you're going to have to look at this symbol here, which is a rake, and you're going to see the rake here, and then this means you can do it or place it on this row here. This symbol here, that's not the rake. Where's another rake at? Where's the other rakes at? Here's another rake. This one can be placed on this row. If they're up above here, you can do columns, but they still have to follow rules. So I couldn't place anything here because, here's another one here, because this bottom hasn't been filled out. So I could use this rake and place whatever fruit here I want. So I will go ahead and just do a watermelon. So anywhere in that row that I want. Now let's go ahead over, that's basically the game plays. We're going to do that 12 times, and once the 12th turn is over, the game ends. So we're going to go over scoring here. and a couple really cool things that can happen. So whenever you use a tool too, so I use that tool, I would have to cross it out here. So a couple cool things that can happen on here. If you are the first to complete one of these, you will get this check mark. Everybody else that can't complete that will have to cross this out. So that means if you're the first to complete this, or if you're the first in the same round as the other person that is first, you will get 1 point extra at the end of the round, at the end of the game. If you complete an entire section, so everything in either the upper or the lower, you get to circle the honey pot. Everyone else has to exit off. So you'll get 3 points. To show that that was taken, you'll put that into the compost pile. So those are bonus points that you could get on the board itself. You'll also get bonus points here. So every single one of the fruits that match this selected fruit, you'll get 1 point. Here, you'll get 2 points for every one of these piles that has that vegetable in it that you selected. And you'll also get points to however high you made it and complete it. So if I had, let's say I have peppers, I had mushrooms here, this is now worth 5 points. So I would get 5 points at the end of the game. If I made it all the way up here and completed, it'd be worth 12. Same with any of these, 4, 8, 12. This is 1 and 3. All these would, however far you made, the furthest you made it on here completed is what your points are going to be. Now on the back of the sheet here, gives you your handy dandy scoring guide. So this is vegetable top areas, vegetable bottom areas, so you would score all those up. Then your fruit platter, which is over here, we're just scoring there. We're going to go over that scoring here in a second. Then your veggie spot bonus, your fruit spot bonus, and then if you got the honey part, and there's your total. Now, the fruit I left to last because it's a little hard to score. Basically, with fruits, you have to have unbroken of whatever you're talking about. So I have 2 watermelons here, so I would look down here, and they're equal. So I wouldn't get any points because I need to have 3. But if I had 3 watermelons, then I would get 3 points. If I had 4 watermelons, I get 4 points. If I had 5 watermelons, I would get 5 points, and so on. So if I have rows, so that's a row here, but let's say I had a strawberry and I had a regular berry here. So this row right here would have 3, so that would also give me 1 point. And I would add them up. Now these have to be unbroken, so if I had something like strawberry, watermelon, berry, this row would give me no points. So that is basically how strawberries score. So again, game's going to go until we have flipped over 12 cards. It's going to end, you're going to score up, and the person with the highest score wins. Let's go head back up to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on Delicious. So I like roll and rights or flipping rights, whichever way you want to do it. I like those style of games. And this is one of the best ones I've played. I really, really love this game. There's a lot of decisions, and I think that's most important. With the same cards that are out there, there are so many different decisions that you can make on your turn that are different from other players' turns, that everyone's scores end up differently. And each decision feels good in this game until you make some mistakes later on. But still, it feels like you're in control of the whole game, which reduces the little bit of feel of like the game being random. So I really appreciate that. I really like that a lot. You see what's out there. Everyone has that available. You're not going to have anything different available to you than an opponent that isn't out of your control. So I might not be able to pick one or pick the top one and put it in the bottom because I've already used those abilities. But maybe another opponent has not, so they'll get to use those. Or maybe I've already used my ability where I can use both of them and put them anywhere, which is super powerful, but other opponents haven't. And you have multiple decisions on where you want to place these things and what you want to do and what strategy you end up using. Where I use those tools, I might put a different vegetable or fruit than another player on there. So really like this game, really like all the strategy that's available throughout this game, and I really like how simple it is to play and how quick it plays. This is the type of game where, or at least for me, where you go through and you play it and you want to play it again. And because it only takes around 20 minutes, no problem to play it again. Now, the first game might take a little longer, but once you get going, you're just going to be going straight through that, and the games can take less than 20 minutes, regardless of player count. Well, I know, like, if you have up to 100 players, it's probably going to take a bit for everyone to see the cards, but the point's still there. The player count doesn't really affect the time on it, so it's a great higher player count game that you can play on any given game night where you're like, well, we have 10 people, we don't want to split up into different groups, and we just want to play a game. This is one that I would recommend. If I ever do like a high player count top 10, it's going to be on it. It's probably also be on any roll and write top 10. I'm going to do. I need to play it a couple more times, but it is definitely a very solid game, and I am loving it. So that's Delicious by Pencil First Games, and my thoughts on it. Thank you for watching.